Hello? Oh.
Oh, there we go. Okay. I'm like,
Yeah,
don't forget to hit restart. You're brave. I just let people see what they see in the beginning.
I went over it with the cursor. Whoops. How are you? How was the weekend?
It was good.
How's motherhood?
Yeah, it is motherhood. Threatened to, cut a tongue out if I heard a ugh screamed in the background again today.
I'm currently.
Now it's just whining instead.
Oh, hey, that's an improvement, right? I just found out that somebody I may have came in contact with last night, or as it has to get a test for COVID, so I'm quarantined. Avery, how are you? How was the weekend?
Good. The weekend was good. We went to friends. They have a farm out in Fall Creek area, and they just set up a bunch of games. So we did everything outside. Kind of kept the kids were out there for candy picking. That's about it. But other than that, still trying to get my bearings on the whole real estate thing. I just went to orientation this morning, which was actually really, really helpful. Now it's just getting through those emails with the list that seems to continually grow.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's never ending.
Yeah. All good though.
One day at a time.
Yes.
It's easy to get bogged down and then get paralyzed.
Yeah. I literally have like just the one sheet, check, next, check. So today, like I did RMLS and Real Estate Association for Springfield, finished filling those out. So I think I should be up and running probably by Friday, hopefully.
Well, that's great news.
Yeah. That will be good.
Give everybody a couple minutes. Hi, Amanda.
Hello.
How are you? How was your weekend?
Good. It was good. How was yours?
Good.
Good.
Not much. We did a trunk or treat at our office
Oh, nice.
where we decorated our trunks and let kids come through. So
Hand out some candy.
oh yeah, handed out
Yeah,
some candy
nice.
and scared some kids.
Nice. It was fun. It was better Halloween than I was expecting.
Nice. How many people had trick or treaters?
I don't have any.
I with none.
We had some people come to our door. We have one of the, video doorbell kind of things. And we noticed somebody, like 3 teenagers came to our door at 12:45 in the morning.
You said be awesome job.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
How many we got?
I have a question maybe while we're waiting for more people to come on.
Mhm.
For you and Mara both probably. So I haven't created my business cards yet. We just do that through command, right? And
I usually suggest people do it through Michael Lewis Marketing Suite. You can do
okay,
it through command if you see like an easy template in there, but Michael Lewis Marketing Suite's pretty user friendly, and we pay for you to have a account through them.
oh neat. Okay, and is it just like Michael? Just type in Google Michael Lewis Marketing Suite.
Ask the front desk for the specific link and then your
Okay.
username and password, and they'll be able to give it to you. But those templates are pretty easy to be compliant with, and then you're
Okay.
not have to pay a design fee.
Okay, perfect. And then do we need to submit once we get that design? Do we need to submit it to you or Tom to
Save
review
it,
before we
yeah, save it as a proof and then submit it to Tom.
Okay. Thank you.
Welcome. All right, I'm gonna give Matt his little like official intro because I don't think he's gotten an official intro. And then I just want to touch real quick on the feedback forms, and then I'll let him do accountability and take it away. So, oops, people are still coming in. Let me find his intro. So Matt Spate has been a real estate professional for over 10 years. In 2018, he joined Keller Williams Sunset Corridor. So that's our one of our Portland locations, and the Experience Growth Network. Together with his wife, Heather, they co-founded Team Spate at KW Sunset Corridor and doubled their production level the very first year with Keller Williams. Teaching and helping others are his passion and what fills his heart with joy. So he's obviously in the perfect spot for you guys today. Little feedback on the accountability forms. So each day Paris is emailing them out to the people that have come. And then I believe the instructors can also post a link that we're emailing them in the chat box. Matt can repost at the end of the day in case people get in or get off. It won't show it to everyone, but it looks like, where's my chat? Oh, here we go.
Right next.
There we go. It like moved like this. These feedback forms are super important for you guys to be filling out after each class. Don't fill it out now, obviously, but it's really important for me and Matt and Shauna to know that the instructors that we're bringing to you are teaching the material that you expect to be covered, and that you're learning and feel like the value is there. Because if not, we'll definitely make adjustments and changes. And it's also really important. Sometimes people decide that they want to be a instructor for KW International, and in order for them to be able to do that, they have to have these feedback forms from classes that they teach. So sometimes it's really important to the instructors too. Sometimes instructors can care less, but if they don't care less, me and Matt at least still do. So make sure you fill those out when you get them, please.
So Mara, I feel like I've only ever got one of those. I got one from you, which I haven't done, but I don't think I've ever received that link before.
Okay.
Surveys.
Yeah, me
Well,
neither.
watch for it moving forward.
Okay.
Soda. Okay, sorry. And we'll try to make sure that they get sent out.
Okay.
All right, Matt, all yours.
Thanks, Ma. Hi, everybody. How's everybody doing?
Good. Hi, Matt.
Happy Monday.
Yep.
Everybody had a good weekend, I take it. Thank you for all taking the time to be here today. It's good to see all of you again. Let's go through some accountability. How do we do on contacts over the weekend?
You want him in the chat room, or you want us to talk?
I'm gonna call out a name and then just let it happen. Unmute yourself and then go back on mute. Amanda, we'll start with you. How'd you do this weekend on contacts, appointments?
Well, so I feel like I'm a little bit behind everybody else because I think I started like a week later. So I am always feeling like I'm in catch up mode, but I haven't officially entered any into my command backend yet. But I did start a business Facebook business page and sent out to all my friends to like and follow it, and I have 50 followers now. So I feel like that's my first kind of win. I don't have any official contacts yet that I've entered in, but yeah, I'm working on that.
So step for a good next step is to reach out to the people that like your page and thank them, come from gratitude, thank them for liking your page, where you will provide them with value, and then reach out to them and ask them if you can get their name, phone number, and email address to put in your database to continue to receive value items and stay in touch with your business.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Thank you.
So if they like your business page, that's one thing, but everybody on your business page should be in your database.
Okay.
And you can also message them. Okay.
Yeah.
Great. So 10 contacts, and maybe even follow up with notes. Once you have that, then do personal notes. That's a great way to do it too. Okay, so and then work on setting appointments. That's the biggest thing about real estate, setting appointments. Okay, we'll go over that a little bit today. Avery, how'd you do on contacts and appointments?
I kind of similar in Amanda's boat, coming on a week later, I'm still trying to get my bearings and whatnot.
Okay.
Plus getting acclimated to the systems and programs.
Good.
However, I have been mentioning it to people that I come across and friends. I'll be ordering my cards soon and whatnot. And then I also on Thursday, I'll be in a group meeting for a BMI. So hopefully that goes well and I'll get my interviews for that and then be in a BMI group soon.
Oh, very cool. Any help, any way I can help you?
No, I have the tech training on Friday, I believe it is.
Okay.
So
And
it's
that's
just about
gonna be a big
understanding
help.
learning command, and then how it all works together.
Okay.
So that'll be next steps.
Very cool. Molly.
Yes. Gosh, this weekend a lot happened for me more in my personal life. So I got engaged. So,
Yay. Oh,
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
That's awesome.
yeah, very. With that said, a little distracted this weekend to get stuff done, but I do have like a list of contacts that I still need to get entered. I have some in my command and in my edge, which I've been doing both. I prefer to just try to keep up on both of those. Definitely, like you other guys, spending probably more time than I should, but just trying to figure out how to use the command system and all that. But I'm working my way through it. It's been pretty awesome, actually. It's just taken the time to, because there's a lot there. There really is. But yeah, need to get back on track this week though, and pound it out.
When is the wedding date? You got a date yet?
It was total shocker to me. So no.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Congratulations. Now this is the best part. Not only are you starting a career as a realtor, you're now engaged. So you need to get names, addresses, emails.
That's right.
Your wedding party.
That's your chance, girl. Wow.
I feel like that's kind of cheating.
Yeah, that's
No.
okay.
I don't think so.
Very cool. Love it. Love it. Jamar.
I didn't do a lot of dialing this weekend. I will say that I am trying to venture off into generating leads as far as hooking up with some of my friends that do a lot of social media posting and has a lot of recognition on social media. So me just, I'm trying to play the angle of, hey, I am a real estate agent hanging out with one of my friends that has a big following, and hopefully I can generate some business off of that. So that's kind of what I did this weekend. I did have one contact off of Facebook today, but I tried to return a text message and haven't got a response back yet. But so that's what I'm trying to do, a different angle. And
Facebook is a great tool, because then you don't have to text message them or anything. You can message them, and then it narcs them out. Then it lets them know, hey, let's get this little bubble that says that they looked at it, and you're like, uh-oh.
Oh,
Then-
narcs out, got it.
Yeah, and then so then
Okay,
it's like,
got it.
I better respond because now he can see,
Oh,
type
good
of thing.
call.
so I'll use that. I didn't think of it. They just sent me a text message on my business phone, but it was with the Facebook link. So I'm assuming they found my contact information out on Facebook and text my number. So I'll just in the process of following up with that, vetting out that particular lead. But that's where I'm at now.
Okay, very cool. Let's go with Cotty.
Hey,
How are you?
so I am, still making contacts with people. I have 2 meetings coming up with some good friends that I think could be fall under allied resources, if that's what it's called.
Sure.
The people that will continually give you referrals. And one of those people is also a business owner. So I'm hoping, to maybe follow Aubrey's footsteps of, making some referral partnerships with that friend. So I'm super excited.
Very cool. Okay. Any way I can help you?
Tell me that I am officially in the system. Other than that.
We checked again today, not yet.
All right. All right.
Okay. Jessica.
Hello. Let's see. Well, I participated in the trunk or treat last Friday at the Keller Williams Sunset Corridor parking lot, and I got to meet a bunch of agents and networked just to get familiar with faces and whatnot, and that turned out great. That was fun. Saturday, I spent the majority of the day organizing myself and putting a list together of all the things that I need to do, including buying cards for my sphere, which I plan on mailing. And Sunday, I had a brunch with a bunch of girlfriends and took advantage of, having great conversations and, letting them know that I was in real estate. And so I think that'll be a good referral base as well. And I also met some new girls and added them to my contact. So yeah, we'll see. Hopefully we see some business in 6 months from now from that. Or sooner.
What you do today is 60 to 90 days.
Yeah. But I'm still in the process of kind of, just, spinning my wheels and just try to keep proactive doing stuff and putting myself out there. I'm doing a lot of social media, and I have a client that I'm working with trying to get his condo relisted. So just trying to stay busy.
Very cool.
We'll see.
Very cool. Keep it up. Eileen. You're on mute.
Sorry. Hi, everyone. I hope everyone had a good Halloween. It's one of my favorite holidays. I'm a witch every year, so I went to a wine bar in Coburg, and the owners it's called Hayworth. If you guys haven't been there, it's pretty fun. and we used to do events with them at St. Vincent de Paul. But anyway, they told me just in passing in last year that they were thinking of downsizing, and they have a huge farmhouse out in Coburg. So I'm hoping that'll lead to something. And I just listened to some music and said hello to them and did my witch thing. I talked to one of the guys, my only real like sort of engaged buyer and seller person who I met at an open house 2 weeks ago. And he finally texted me back and said, a lot of the homes were dead end. And I said, I'm not sure what you mean by that. You know, what do you mean? And he's like, oh, on a dead end street. And he showed me the map. So I said, oh, okay, got it. I can go through and try and do a new search for you and call those out. Is there anything else you want to, see or not see? And I didn't hear back from him yet, but at least he reached back out to me. So that's good. So I'm working on that. I had 2 phone calls on Friday with good friends of mine, the community people I've worked with in the past. So both of them, I mailed them a note one yesterday and one this morning. So they'll be good allied resources for me. And said, of course, they'll try and help me out. So I was pleased by those calls. And then I met with Michael today from Western Title, who was a great presenter. You guys remember him last week, and just talking about Facebook and stuff. And he's really approachable and really wonderful. So I encourage you guys to meet with him. I set up my Facebook business page on Saturday. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I established it and did a post on there, and then did another one for Halloween, and then one this morning for an article, and 4 other calls, and then the notes, and that's it. I didn't do a lot this weekend. I should have done more, but I'm dealing with my mother-in-law, and there's a lot of busy stuff I got to take care of in these first few weeks that she's living with us. So that does take up some of my time, but I feel pretty good about at least the contacts that I did make. That's it.
Perfect. Thank you. Corin, great job.
Yeah. Hi, guys. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Awesome. Well, I've been licensed for a little while. I actually already took this class. I'm just doing it as a refresher because I've got a couple of people I'm working with on listings. And I figured this would be something I need to relearn. But doing well. I actually just closed my 3rd transaction on Friday. Yeah, it's exciting stuff. Got 2 more closing this month. And like I said, working with a couple people for 2 or 3 listings, and working with 3 other buyers to try and find houses. And so I'm rocking and rolling. Anybody want to be my transaction coordinator?
How long have you been doing?
I mean, what do you need? That's kind of what I do on the side, so we can talk.
Nice, excellent. Well, we may need to talk. But it was end of May is when I got licensed. So been a few months. Yeah, during COVID. Yeah, no, it's not been too long. But I feel like it's a level playing field with some of the older agents or more experienced agents because they're having to relearn COVID stuff along with us newbies. So, for you really newbie people out there, don't be afraid to get out there and really hit the ground because honestly, some people have been doing this for a long time and having to relearn a lot of stuff. So they're in a similar boat to you guys.
Absolutely agree. Thank you for the input. That's awesome.
Corin.
Yeah.
You hadn't closed any at the end of the last Ignite yet, had you?
Not officially. September 15th was my first official closing. And so I closed
nice
2.
Work.
Thank you. Yeah. So I closed that one, and then I closed 2 this month or October, and then I got 2 potentially closing are supposed to close by Thanksgiving. So it's been awesome.
Very cool. Congrats. That's awesome. Jeffrey.
Hi. So I've been trying to keep busy on social media and posting every day and getting engaged with people, and I plan on, mixing in more real estate stuff. I've been posting like baby pictures and so forth, but also been doing a lot of door knocking, and out of that I got a woman asking for an appraisal, so I just gotta do the CMA class and do more research so I can do that. And contacted my family and planning on getting a Mojo subscription, Mojo dialer. So that's pretty much what I've been working on.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. Way to stay in front of people. Nassim.
Let's see, I co-hosted 2 open houses over the weekend. First ones I've been a part of, so that was not only a learning experience, but on day 2, I got a warm lead out of it. So I now have a guy who I'm doing some searches for, trying to find him stuff that meets his criteria, and I'll hopefully set him an appointment with him for later on in the week as I follow up to go ahead and get an agreement in place. Let's see. I have a couple other folks that I reached out to from my sphere over the weekend who just happen to be at that right time, right place, who are interested. One's interested in investment property, and I sent him a couple links for a couple places that meet his criteria. He's looking for multifamily homes. And then another one who is interested in moving out of his current situation, wants to know how much he qualifies for. I have an appointment with him this afternoon. I feel like I'm missing a couple things there. Oh, I did a walkthrough, a Facebook Live presentation on that house for all my folks on my business page, since I know that we were told that live videos get the most clicks or the most hits. So that was my first one of those I've done over the weekend. And I am forgetting a couple. Oh, and just talked to another friend about an hour ago who is looking for a commercial property for his business, who I'm going to start doing a search for.
So how many clients are you currently working with, would you say?
I have 7, but no signed agreements. I have a verbal commitment from 2 of them. They're close friends I've known for decades. And then I think I should be able to get written agreements from at least 2 of the other ones this week.
I was going to say, setting the appointments. So it's one thing to have the conversation. The next thing is to set the appointments. Yep. The appointments are the big thing. It sets you apart from just having the conversations to being the professional. That's the biggest thing is 87% of more clients actually work with their client, with their realtor when they set an appointment. It changes how they view you. Absolutely. Right? Alicia. Where did she go? Did she leave?
Last name Reynoso.
Oh, Elizabeth, you can go.
Oh, no, I won't. If you're
Well, she was on and then she left. So
okay.
Skip that.
Occasionally I go by Alyssa, and so I get called Alicia a lot, or Elisa, or things like that. So I type up just in case.
How was the weekend?
Really good, and then took a hard right. So really good interactions over Halloween in front of our house, and met up with someone who took like 10 business cards, and he's working in the homeowners association for our neighborhood, and just is someone in business that connects with a lot of people in our community. And so he was really excited that I was an agent and supportive. Then Sunday we found out a death of someone close in the family. So now we are adjusting as a family, and so it's going to kind of slow things down a little bit as my husband is going to go to California and some just different things. So
I'm
yeah.
sorry to hear.
Thank you.
Just a second. We've got another one coming in. Okay. And so Alicia is gone. Have I missed anybody? Alan? How'd you do this weekend? I know you're a guest, but I'm curious as to how you did.
Let's see. So I got involved with a community group that was doing like a drive Halloween thing. And so I made a bunch of contacts. I got 14 new names. And they're going to do some stuff for Thanksgiving and Christmas, so I kind of joined the group. So that was good.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. So I got to talk to a lot of people, handed out business cards, and it was a good weekend.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Nuri, we're just doing an update on how our weekend went. If we were able to get out and talk to people. Not sure if you're still there. If you want to unmute and participate. If not, you can type it in the chat. How was your weekend? Did I miss anybody? Okay, perfect. So you're all here to hear about Win the Cellar. Okay, what does that mean? What does that mean to you guys? If you want to unmute.
Get the
And tell
sale.
me what you think that means. Hopefully
Get the
everybody.
sale.
I think that means to get the sell with the seller and then have them word of mouth more. So you're not only winning their sell, but you're winning them over.
The average person, when we're looking at most people, most agents start with buyers. Okay. Why? Because the most ready leads that we get are buyers leads. On average, when we're looking at the business, as a buyer's agent, you spend 40 hours before you get a close. With a listing, you work about 8 hours. So the difference is there. And that's why it's important to be able to, one, talk to listings and be able to secure the listings. And we do that by setting the appointments. Okay. Getting in front of people. More than anything, get in front of people, be able to determine a value, what their motivation is. Sorry, somebody's popping in the chat, but what their value is and what we're looking for, what they're looking for. I am going to pull up, I'm going to share. Okay. So I'm going to go into Win the Seller. How do you win the listing? Provide value with your pre-listing packet. And I'm going to talk about what that looks like. Okay. We've already done the how we're going to put together a pre-listing packet and what should be in it. Okay. Learn and practice your listing presentation and asking for the listing presentation to sign. The hardest part that I had when moving from buying to listing, and I didn't move to the listing side of things until I got to KW, because I never had the training, never had the experiences. The only listings I got was somebody looking to sell from my sphere who trusted me already. Okay. Now it goes beyond that. Now I can have a conversation with a total stranger and give him him or her all the details that they need to then use me. Okay. So this is today's, we've got the 10-4. Oh, you're getting my instructor manual, which is cool. So calling for 20 minutes, make as many contacts. I want everybody to pick up their phone right now, okay? Because I'm going to do this today. And I want you to think of 5 people that you can text. Just tell them you were thinking about them and you'd like to set an appointment to get in front of them. So pick 5 people on your mind. It can be your mom, it can be your dad, it could be your brother, sister, friend. It could be a lender, it could be a title company, but I want you to take 5 people and schedule and shoot them a text to tell them you're thinking about them. And then ask them if they have any time this week to get together. you'd love to catch up. Does that sound easy enough?
Yeah.
And I'll give you guys about 5-10 minutes to do that. Just type 1 in the chat when you're done. This is the one of the easiest ways you can do to get contacts. Tell them you want to meet them for a cup of coffee.
Well, now they're all texting me back.
Say that again.
Now they're all texting me back.
Amazing, isn't it?
That's a good thing.
Set your appointments. This is one of the easiest ways to get in front of people. And then when you get in front of them, it's where we capture, remember the 4 C's. Capture, connect, close, and cultivate. I'll give everybody a couple more minutes. Shayna, how'd that go for you?
Good. Responses from almost everyone I text so far.
It's pretty painless, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes lead generation gets in our head.
Oh, my biggest problem is the majority of people in my phone are also KW agents.
Referral agreements.
Uh-huh. Yeah, working on a couple of those too.
Good. By the way, I will tell you, this is the hardest part about teaching is waiting and not just diving in, but this is also the most important part of your business. To reach out to people, get in front of people, let them know you're thinking about them. They don't know how much you care until you show them how much you care. You don't want them to get stuck with a bad realtor. All right, let's, who wants to share a story? Anybody got an appointment? Successes? Avery already went. Let's do 3 more.
I'll go.
Eileen, how'd it go?
I texted a friend and we're gonna meet at 4 o'clock. I mean, she lives in San Diego, so it's not in person.
Can be Zoom.
I texted Mike Ford at Finance in America because he did our house for us, and we're going to meet tomorrow.
Very cool.
I'd already texted him last week, but we didn't connect. And I texted one more person that I was going to see on Halloween night because it's my little niece. And so I'm waiting to hear back from her. And then the other two I didn't hear back from yet.
Was that easy?
Yeah, super easy. It's awesome.
And fun?
Yeah.
That's lead gen right there.
Mm-hmm.
Go to your sphere, reach out to people.
Yep.
And then how does it look when you follow up?
Are you asking me?
Sure. What do you think? What do you see? So how do you ask for the business?
Well, I just try to ask them a lot of questions about what's going on in their life.
Yep.
And I have a tendency to talk too much. So I got to ask more questions and talk less. And somebody told me one time, you know, if you ask questions, you'll learn everything you need to know.
If you ask questions, you will control the conversation.
Right.
One thing about
and it kind of helps you drive the conversation then based on what they tell you.
and listing presentations, if I walk out of an appointment and they know nothing about me and I know everything about them, that's a win.
Yeah.
I'm not there to prove myself. I'm there to get them to where they want to go
Right.
in the amount of time that they want to get there.
Right.
And it's those
Well,
open.
it feels good because you're excited about what you're doing and you get to share that. They eventually ask you what you're up to and they
Yep.
can see that you're excited about it. And so it feels good. You know, it's exciting to think about, you know, somebody saying, yeah, you know, we've actually talked about buying a home next year, or, you know, I haven't talked to anybody yet that says they want to sell their house except for that one client from the open house. So
That's okay, but then we got to
Cool.
ask them. It's not just about them, because then we got to help their friends and family too. Who do you
Right.
know that's looking to sell, buy, invest, or rent in real estate?
Yep.
It's asking the questions. Jessica, how'd that go?
So I just touched base with quite a few people that I've met throughout they live in other places
That's
that
fine.
I met at different stations that we were stationed at. And I haven't got any responses yet, but if I do, I will. If I
Chime
do within this time frame, I'll let you know. But I'm pretty sure I just touched base. Hey, how are things going? One of the persons I touched base with, she's a loan officer, and I met her here before I joined Keller Williams. And so I was touching base with her, see how things are going. Yeah, so we'll see.
Jeffrey?
But-
Oh, go ahead.
Oh no,
I don't want to interrupt.
I'm gonna keep talking.
No.
Go ahead.
I love it. Let's go Nassim. Nassim or Jeffrey, whichever one pops off first.
Well, that went just
Jeffrey,
fine.
you just, oh,
I haven't gotten any responses back yet, but that was pretty similar to how I've been reaching out to some of my sphere already. So it's pretty comfortable. I've already been working through some alphabetical stuff. So
Love
I
it.
anticipate, based on my previous experience, I'll hear back from every one of them over the course of the next 24 hours and go from there.
perfect. And it doesn't have to be an in-person. It can be a Zoom.
Yeah, I'm doing one of those Zoom meeting this afternoon with a potential buyer.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. And Jeffrey, real quick, why don't you share?
Yes, I sent out a couple of group texts. I got a group conversation going with family and like nieces and nephews and everything. It's a big group. So, and I have a work conversation too. So I sent out one to my day job conversation as well.
Very cool. Awesome. Doesn't have to be painful. Lead gen could be fun. We make it what we make it, okay? There we go. All right. So once you talk to them, write them a personal note. Follow up with a handwritten note, thanking them for their time, for the chat. It was great to catch up with you. and let you know what I've been up to with my business. I'm thrilled to be with Keller Williams. I'm available for you at any time to be an asset and a resource to you, your family, and friends. Please call me whenever a need or question comes up. I'll stay in touch. I appreciate you and wish you all the best. Seems pretty easy, doesn't it? Gratitude. We're here to help people. We're here to help our friends. You know, your referral partners. Thank you for taking the time to chat with me today. It was great getting to know you, and I look forward to helping you. Please know that I'm available to you at any time to be an asset and resource to you and your family and your friends. Please call me whenever a question or need comes up. Stay in touch. I wish you all the best. But the biggest thing is follow up. It's follow up. If we don't follow up, the appointments don't do any good. Okay. So when we talk about, let's switch it up a little bit to listings. Okay. A little bit about me. When I got to Keller Williams 2 years ago, my business was about 90% buyers, 10% listings. In 2 years, I have flipped the script, so to speak, and it's 60% sellers, 40% buyers. What's the biggest reason for the switch? One, I learned what to do in an appointment and how to get those listings and how to win those listings. And I've come up with different strategies that if some of you on here know me, you know my strategies pretty well on a daily basis. If you come to Scripps class, you know my strategies and how we can help. And I use unusual circumstances to change the seller's minds to a buyer. We have to have some psychology to read what our sellers are thinking. My house is worth $340,000. Great, but what happens when you Google your address? Because every buyer has a home app on their phone. 96% of people have one of these, right? How many people do we think, type in the chat, how many people do we think have a home app on it, whether it's Zillow, KW, Redfin, Realtor.com, whatever it is? How many people think they've got a home app on their phones? Type it in the chat. I'd say 9 out of 10. I think he's about right. Avery? Everybody knows what Zestimate is. Everybody follows, every seller follows. 3 times as many people use Zillow as they use anything else.
So Matt, you're talking about like when something pops up my phone and says your home is worth X.
Yeah.
Okay.
An evaluation. Every realtor, every site, whether it's Realtor.com, Redfin, they all have an estimate.
Uh-huh.
Who knows where they get their information?
Right.
But it does tell you, right? And a lot of people take that as the gospel. But if you walk into a listing, right? And when you walk into a listing, most sellers are emotional about selling their house. They've got memories of their kids growing up, and whether they're good or bad memories, they have memories of their house, and those memories, those escalate the value in a lot of cases. So a lot of the things, so a lot of the things that we do has to be taking the emotion out of it. And we have these, and I found a way to use these into taking the emotion out of it for the sellers. We all love numbers. Okay. When we love numbers, we look at what's available. Buyers, they all have their criteria in their phone. Boom, when something pops up with their criteria, pings to their phone, they open up in the app, whatever app they're using. And the first thing they look at is the pictures. And the second thing they look at is the price. So I'm to a point, when I walk into my listing presentation, or when I walk into my listing, knock on the door. Hey, let's see. Alan. Hey, it's Matt Spate. I'm here at 3 o'clock. We have an appointment at 3 o'clock. Great. I love what we've done, right? So you always look around when you walk up to the house and drive through the house, right? Drive around the house, see what's in the area, what's active, look it up online, have all of the information, right? So we want to do a CMA of the area, actives, pendings, and solds. Actives are going to be our competition. Pendings are going to be the price at which they sell. And solds are going to be the price what they sell for. Now we also have TMOs. TMOs are a great resource to figure out about an area. CMA dwindles that area down. CMA is a comparable market analysis, okay? And what we talk about is fundamentally changing everybody's perception, the seller's perception. Hey, it's 3 o'clock. I'm here at 3 o'clock. Why do we point out that it's 3 o'clock and you're on time?
So they know you're dependable.
Yeah. You're telling them you're dependable, you're on time, and their time and your time is valuable. You're setting yourself up as the professional and you're taking control of the situation. Okay. They called you there to be the professional. They called you there to get their house sold. If you walk in and say, oh yes, I agree with that. I agree with that. I agree with that. There's no point for you to be there.
Right.
Be ready in your listing presentations to have fierce conversations.
Yeah.
You are going to do them a whole lot better by having those fierce conversations before you put the house on the market. Okay. The other part of that, rules change once you put their house on the market. Once you put their house on the market, you're going to have to be able to let them know that, hey, this kitchen tile is outdated. We can either replace it, we can work with it, but we're going to work with it on a price. It's your job to go through and make notes. One of the things that I do for my listing presentation, we're there to do 3 things. 1, I'm going to be on time, right? So it's 3 o'clock. We have an appointment at 3 o'clock. Love what you've done to the front yard, the bark and the color. It's great because people are getting ready to sell, right? They know they all have HGTV and they know they've got to make it presentable in the front because that's the first impression, right? So then we turn around and when we go in, introduce yourself and, Matt Spate with Keller Williams at 3 o'clock. Hey, we got an appointment at 3 o'clock. May I come in? And then I direct them to the dining room table. So that's where all the big decisions are made in the house. We talk about, great, let's sit at the dining room table. The first thing I want to do is walk your house through the eyes of a buyer. Most people will walk their house with the seller in tow behind them. I don't anymore. Because what I found that it did for me was it brought my emotional level up. And it changed my thinking. My job is to get the best price to get the house sold. My job is to get the house sold in the quickest amount of time for the highest price the market's going to bear. If I go through and listen to every aspect of what the seller has done to the house and what it is, or what the emotional side of things, then it's going to be harder to get the price that I want. And I set my bag down and say, hey, the first thing I would like to do is walk through your houses through the eyes of a buyer. Would that be okay? Okay, I need you to know that, one, set the expectation. When you set the expectation, they know they're not going to be there. If you're walking through the eyes of a buyer, you're setting the expectation that they're not going to be there. So when we talk about the through the eyes of a buyer, I actually take a clipboard with my RMLS input sheets and I'm taking notes. It's the 4 pages that we have when you're filling out a listing, and we're doing that. I also take the seller's disclosures that they're going to have to fill out on everything they know about the house. So I'm kind of setting it up to one big thing at the end, right? And as I walk through the house of the buyer, I'd love to walk through your house through the eyes of the buyer, because you're not going to be here when buyer's agents are bringing their clients through. So I need to know what they're going to look at. Meanwhile, while I do this, here's seller's disclosures. So when you list with me, we're going to save time on the back end. I understand that your time is valuable, and I want to be aware of that. So the seller's disclosures is everything that they fill out about the house, whether there's been any problems, leaks, do they have the legal right? Those are your seller's disclosures. Familiarize yourself with the seller's disclosures, okay? When you do that, then you can kind of gauge whether or not they're going to list with you. If you come back and they haven't started filling it out, you've got some work to do to show them your value. If they've already halfway filled it out, easy peasy lemon squeezy, their time's valuable, right? So what we do at that point is then we can make it quick. And when we say make it quick, we're here to do 3 things. We're here to discuss your motivation. We're here to discuss a list price that works. And we are here to, brain cramp. We're here to discuss their motivation, and we're here to discuss whether or not you want to work with me or I want to work with you.
Get him to sign?
Yeah, if you can get them to sign right there. My goal is to sign every listing I walk into right then and there.
Right.
Okay. Now, when you ask that question, whether or not you want to work with me or I want to work with you, what as a seller goes through your mind?
How they feel about you?
Yeah. Why wouldn't you want to work with me? It creates doubt in their head. Why wouldn't you want to work with me? Every realtor needs work and wants to work with me, right? Every realtor needs the work. And they're going to tell me whatever I want to hear to get that job. And the reality of it is, when you set up yourself as the professional and you don't just say yes, and you have fierce conversations, maybe they have a deck that has rotted wood that you're going to have to point out as you're going through your walkthrough, right? Make a note of it. So when you get back to the table, you can have those fierce conversations. What is it about list price? So list price is going to determine what we sell for. Why wouldn't you want me? Why wouldn't you want to work with me? It creates the doubt. You may want to list at a price where you have, just a second here. Okay, so asking, sorry, homeschool, it's awesome. You should try it. So what we do when we ask whether or not you want to work with me or I want to work with you, the fear goes to their head. Always the question is why wouldn't you want to work with me? Well, you may decide to list your house at a price where I know it's not going to sell. And you may ask me to put my budget, my money behind a property that I know it's not going to sell. You get to make that choice. And you're setting the expectation that you know where it's going to sell, right? We have our actives, our pendings, and the solds. Now we're talking about the listing presentation, right? I'll get to the pre-listing packet before. Some people have them, some people don't. It's going to be entirely up to you of what we have. So as we set a price, I use technology into my listing presentation. Hey, my house worth $575. You're probably right, but I don't want to limit it to $575, and that may not be our list price. But I want to set the expectation, and I want you to Google your address. Technology, these are tips that every buyer has at their fingertips. They all have one of these, and their buyers are more savvy than they've ever been. So say we want to put the house at $575. One of the first things I have them do is claim their listing on Zillow. We want to make sure the information's right, that the public records are right. Fundamentally, if I walk into a 5-bedroom, 2.5 bath and a walkthrough, and Zillow has it a 3-bedroom, 3-bath, the algorithms aren't going to be right, and that Zestimate's going to be totally wrong.
So you want the person who's
their house
after we list it, their house, they need to claim it.
They need to claim it before you put it on the market.
Okay.
Make sure all the information's right. And this is also going to set you apart from any other agent, that you're aware of any technology that buyers see. And buyers' perception is what? If you try to sell a house that, hey, has a Zestimate of 540, but it's a 3-bedroom, 3-bath, or you have a Zestimate that's 5-bedroom, 2.5 bath, and it's not right, and you walk through the house, it's 5 bedrooms, 2.5 bath, you know this estimate's not going to be right. The algorithms aren't going to be right. Right? So if you want to list your house at $575 and 3 times as many people use these realtor websites, whether it's Zillow, Redfin, Realtor.com, these are all buyers' perception. So if you've got a house at 540 on evaluations and you're trying to sell it for 575, how much activity do you think you're going to get? Probably not. We go to buyer's perception. If you've got a computer A over here for $1,500, it's your base model, computer B over here that's a base model with webcam and Bose stereo system for the same price, which one are you going to buy? A or B? B, right? That's buyer's perception. And we want to fundamentally change our sellers into buyers to get the price that we want. Okay? When we talk about getting our head, when we talk about moving forward, right? That alone will change their perception. Ask them to claim their house on Zillow to get the algorithms up so we can work with it. Now, Zillow will eventually change to list price. So I don't put much emphasis on it other than to get the price that I want. Okay, our job is to also maximize exposure.
Matt, what do you mean when you say claim their house on Zillow?
As an owner, you can go into your house and put, I am the owner. And you can go as far as how many bedrooms, how many baths, what I love about the neighborhood, what do I love about the schools.
Okay.
Okay, have them claim their own house.
Okay, got it.
So if somebody comes up and says my house worth $490, and then you do a quick, even if you're in an open house, I've had many conversations with somebody who says, yeah, I got to sell my house before I buy. Great. What's your address? You know what you're going to sell it for? I have an uncle that's a realtor. He said it's at $490. Great. First thing you need to do is have your uncle, the first thing you need to do is claim your house on Zillow. Because right now your Zillow is at $425. If you're looking to sell it at $490, we got to change buyer's perception. That starts with you claiming your house. Well, my uncle didn't tell me to do that. Probably not. Right? This is showing us to set, how are we going to set ourselves apart from other realtors? We're using it everything that we have. RMLS, Zillow, comparable actives, pendings, and solds in the area. We have our TMOs. Does anybody know what a TMO is?
Total market overview.
Yep, and that breaks it down by area. That's your number one tool in a listing presentation. Eileen, you ask, do I actually ask the question? Which question was that?
Oh, gosh. Let me go back.
I do ask the question of whether or not they want to work with me or I want to work with them.
Yeah, that one.
I do. It
Oh,
changes their mindset. That's the essential thing. And then I follow it up with, you may want to market your house at a price that I know it's not going to sell.
Okay. But that was asked, what I was asked is, when do you ask that question?
Oh, that's the third, that's the third thing. We're here. So after I get back and sit down, once I walk the house and I have my notes, and I'm pointing out, when I'm walking through, I'm pointing out everything that's not only right with the house, but wrong with the house.
Yeah.
Okay. Because we want to have those fierce conversations.
Right.
Maybe there's a hole in the door. Maybe there's crayon writing on the wall. Maybe there's, maybe they need to paint. Maybe they haven't painted in 20 years.
Right.
So we want to set them up. Buyers like ready day one houses. They don't want houses at top value right now. They don't want houses. They want to pay top value for houses that haven't had any work done. And right now, if you know anything about, if you're out in the market and you're going into houses, there's a lot of houses that feel like they're getting top dollar for work that hasn't been done on them.
Wow.
Okay. So once I sit back down, we're here to establish three things. One, your motivation. Where do you want to go? When do you want to get there? And we're going to ask open-ended questions so we can devise a plan that's going to help them sell, right? With technology, would we all agree that we have about 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks to sell our house, sell our listing at top price, at above list price or above?
Yeah, it seems
This
great
is
right now.
something, as you work with buyers, you should probably know. There is a secondary market. If we don't sell our listings in the first 2 to 3 weeks, the market's telling us we're overpriced. And we should start having a conversation about dropping our price to bring back activity. Higher listings are a little bit easier or a little bit longer, but not much. How much do you want to sit on it? And once again, what it comes down to most of all is their motivation.
Right.
Okay, so we talk about, let's review where we're at in the selling process. So so far we've worked on capturing contacts, connecting with them, and then closed by asking for business and referrals. Same thing in listings. We want to ask for the business. I didn't get listings because I never asked for the business. Now I put it right into the first 10 minutes. I'm going to walk the house through the eyes of the buyers. Here's seller's disclosures. If you could start filling this out, so when you list with me, we're going to save time on the back end. Okay. You want to set up that you're the professional. You can send pre-listing packets. And the listing presentation, they're a 1-2 punch that provides seller with all the information they need about selling and the selling process and how your services benefit them. I would put together a flow chart of what the seller's process looks like. Now, I would tell you 9 times out of 10, if I send somebody something before I get there for the appointment, they don't look at it.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, human nature. But we have the appointment, so that's why we're going to get there at 3 o'clock and we're going to be on time. We're going to go into the dining room. We're going to set the expectations, right? We're here to establish 3 things. We're here to establish your motivation, a price point, and whether or not you want to work with me or I want to work with you. That's how fast it goes. First thing I'm going to do is walk your house through the eyes of a buyer, because you're not going to be here when we have showings. Set the expectations, right? Appointments. And we talk about focused on listings, right? Focus on listings is a major benefit. Listings provide more exposure, advertising. For every time your sign goes in a yard, you should probably pick up 2 other deals. Whether it be through social media, whether it be through neighbors, now a lot of this has changed, and like we've understood, with COVID, we're all having to change the way we do things. I had a set pattern. My listings would go live on Thursday. Friday, I would go door knock for my open houses, and I would have open houses every week, every first weekend, because that sets the expectation, but it also creates fear with so many buyers losing out on houses over and over again. Having the open house, how many people want to get into the house, have offers in, and want you to answer before the open house? It happens. And if you have an inexperienced agent as a listing agent, they'll take the first one that comes in. When in reality, the only way we can determine the highest price the market's going to bear is by exposing it to the market, not taking the first offer that comes in, or not ever hitting the market. Okay? Your open house brings buyers. Even if the buyers don't choose the property, they may be interested in properties in the area. That's why you're going to become the neighborhood expert in that area. And listings are time leverage. On average, you can do 2 to 3 seller listings to every 1 buyer listing. Takes about 40 hours to work with a buyer. Takes about 8 to work with a seller. Let me see if I can find this. Developing your listing skills. Let me find something here. No. Can everybody see me yet? Can everybody see this?
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Gene Rivers, and I'm here today to tell you how to develop your listing skills to a very high level. And after you've done that, you'll be able to go in and take over market share. Number one, the best source for listing leads is from your sphere and past client list. The fact is, the people you know the people that are going to be moving, whether it's at church, school, work, friends, relatives. Focus on making sure they understand you're in the listing business. Create a pre-listing package that you would give every seller, but rename it your guide to selling homes successfully in your market. And then give that to the people in your database that you know have influence, that's collateral materials that they can give to their friends and refer you. Step two, focus on an area, product, or price range. When you develop mastery of a product or an area, you will much more quickly succeed in those areas. And in that area or in that product or price range, focus on the FSBOs in that area, the expireds in that area, door knock in that area, geographic farm in that area, and I'm talking a fairly tight area, so that the people in that area will really, really identify with you as someone who can help them sell property for top dollar with low hassle in a short amount of time. Now we're at number three. Everyone today that's looking at hiring an agent, whether it's a referral, even a past client, or a stranger who's gotten your name somehow, they're going to check you out on the web. So you need to make sure that your website is competent, that you've got basic, powerful content in there, and specifically that on the landing page, the very opening page, there is a direct offering to a seller. Find out what your home is worth, get a guide to selling your home. But if you don't do that, you're going to miss opportunities, because people will get your name, check your website out, and go, I don't think so. I've seen a lot better sites. Fix your website with a database that you are working on a consistent basis. And with a tight focus, you build your reputation. If you're visible, you will find you will take over more and more listings. And in a very short amount of time, 12 to 24 months, you will own that market. That's how you take market share.
I'm going to pop this one up too.
Hi, I'm Josh Bath from Vancouver, Canada. I'm with Keller Williams for 8 years and been selling real estate for 18 years. Now I'm going to walk you through my listing presentation, and it's a 3-step process. The first part is preparation, second part is presentation, and the third part is follow-up. A lot of my listings come by way of referral and repeat. And so when the call comes in and they want me to come over and list their home, I have a conversation about what their needs are. What exactly is it you're looking to do? Are you moving up? Are you moving down? I have them tell me exactly what the reasons are that they're selling for. I get a real sense of what direction that they want to go. One of the things that we've done to make my appointment setting a little easier is we've time blocked. We follow what Gary says. He says time block everything that you do. And we've time blocked our slots in advance for listing appointments. Every day, Monday to Friday, we have a slot available at 4 o'clock and a second slot available at 5:30. So I've got a potential of 10 listing appointments Monday to Friday. That makes my life a lot easier because I'm able to time block my lead generation first thing in the morning and not have my day so loose and scattered. So I'm trying to scramble on where to put a listing appointment. What we do now in our team is we've decided to go paperless with our evaluations, our CMAs. So instead of printing off paper, what we'll do is we'll take it on the computer and convert it to PDF, mark it up with a highlighter from there on the computer, and then create an email from that email that package off to our client prior to going out to their home to list it. What I do when I go on a listing presentation is I meet the sellers at the door and I have them take me on a tour of the property. During that time, I'm actually asking them to tell me again, to recap again, what their motivation is for selling. So I'm getting them more comfortable with them moving out of their house is what I'm doing. That usually takes about 5 minutes. And when we're done there, we transition right over to the kitchen table. We'll talk about the market, the evaluation itself, and that in itself is about 15 minutes. Once we've agreed upon a price that we're going to list at, we'll sign a listing contract. They sign the initial 3-page contract. They sign the property disclosure statement, and they sign the working with a realtor brochure. Outside of those 3 documents, that's it. I send in my measuring company to come in and measure the home. I send in my stager who's going to contact them to come in and stage the home. And once she's done, then I send in the photographer and take the photos of the home. We always do a follow-up with them as well, just to say, how did that go? What was that experience like for you? Keeps them feeling like they're in control and very much a part of the process. And it lets them know that we're paying attention to every detail on their listing prior to it even being on the market. One of the expectations that I set with the sellers is that I phone them twice a week on purpose. So I set their expectation for me to phone them on Monday mornings with what's called the Monday morning update, where I review everything that's happened for their home over the past weekend with them. The second call that I set them up for to expect is on Fridays, and that's a Friday morning market update. And what I've set them up for is that I'm going to talk to them about any new listings that have hit the market, any expireds that have come off the market, and any solds that have actually just happened since that past week. They also know that on Friday, we're going to be talking about the numbers. Does the current list price that we're at right now still make sense in relation to the latest listings or the most current solds? They know in advance that that conversation could lead to a price reduction. And a lot of times they bring that on themselves. They say, hey, look, you know what? It looks like we might be a bit high, Josh. Should we bring it down? So it's a natural transition to a price reduction. One of the reasons I choose not to do a pre-listing package is when I'm sitting in front of them, I really want their full focus and attention. I want their attention on me, and I want to be able to ask them questions where they're giving me their full attention and not flipping through a pre-listing package. Most of their questions are going to come straight from their gut, and that's really what I'm looking for. I'm Josh Bath, and I just shared my listing presentation with you, and I wish you all the best with yours.
There we go. Let's go. Am I here? Where am I at? Okay. What's everybody's ahas on that? You couldn't see it?
No, he was very methodical.
He put the plans and so the client can know what is the expectation and what is each step he is going to do.
Set the expectation. Okay. He walks the house with his sellers. Big difference. You get to decide what you want to do. Everybody's different. I found that I never got the price that I wanted when I walked through the house with them. And some sellers, they may not want you to walk through the house by yourself. Yeah. So that's where it works to be able to that's where it works to be able to have that conversation. And yes, confidence. Kadi, you says, when will we get the opportunity to shadow another agent doing a listing presentation? Because I can't imagine being this confident right away. How many other people feel that way?
Sure.
Raise your hands.
I felt it at the beginning, the first time before I start doing my own listing.
Say that again, Mona.
I felt it at the beginning.
Yep.
I was really so worried to do it by myself the first time. And then when I got my first listing, I start to be more encouraged, be more myself. And with the practice we're doing every morning at 8 a.m., I love it. So this is build the confidence more.
Okay, so what we have here is basically the confidence is the biggest thing we work on, right? So how do we fight confidence? If we're lacking confidence, knowledge gives us
Confidence.
exactly. We can overcome it by knowing exactly what's going on in that area. Nobody is going to know that area better than you. Even if they're interviewing 3 other agents that you don't know about. The only thing we can focus on is what we do and how we bring our A game, and that's through preparation. And preparation is everything. Actives, pending, solds, right? That gives us an idea. Technology. All right. Is any other agents going to bring up technology? Probably not. But can you make yourself sound a whole lot better by being knowledgeable, bringing in technology? When we bring in technology, people, it changes their perception. It scares them a little. The other thing that I believe in my listing presentation, I believe in it's a numbers game. How many people can we have, can we expose it to, expose your home to in the first weekend? When we expose it into, when we maximize exposure, right? And the way that apps work, most of them work in $25,000 increments. What does that mean? Well, if you list the house at 550, how many people use 9s? How many people will list a house at 549 or 550? Type in the chat, which is your preferred price point? 549, 549, 549. I list at 550. Why? Because the way the RMLS works, the way apps work, they work in $25,000 increments. The way lenders work. If you list at 549, you're limiting the price that they're going to get.
I see.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
At 550, everybody who's looking from 525 to 550 or 550 to 575 is looking at it, but everybody who's looking at 500 to 550 is looking at it. Everybody that's looking at 550 to 600 is looking at it. You're maximizing the exposure.
Yeah.
549 is an old grocery store trick or a car trick that says, hey, I didn't even pay $1 for that. Look,
Okay,
I paid 99 cents, right? It's been around for decades. And I come from the grocery industry. So I despise 9s, but but I also know it's an opportunity, right? So if you're looking for over and working with buyers, so the buyers and the sellers, right? If somebody lists at 564.9, most likely people are looking at it are going to 575. Right?
Yeah.
So knowing trends and stats and strategies, we can create them to do what's best in our best interest for our clients. So I'm going to go back to when the seller, here it is. Okay. Pre-qualify the sellers to understand their motivation and position yourself as the expert. And that will win you the listing. I have a running joke with my listing presentation that the only time I never get the price that I want is when my wife is with me, because she sympathizes with them. and she wants to get every dollar possible. But every dollar possible isn't always list price. If you list on the high side and you don't sell in the first 3 weeks, it's a miserable conversation to come back and say, you know what, the market's kind of telling us we're overpriced. I do like what he said about Monday conversations and Friday conversations. You're looking at the actives, the expireds. There's not a lot of expireds right now. Okay. They allow you to price the home to sell for the most amount of money. What allows you to price the home and sell it for the most amount of money in the quickest amount of time? List price. Buyer's perception. How many people can you bring to an open house? Is it worth it for you to hold an open house if one person shows up? Say that again.
Yep.
Absolutely. If you get one person shows up and that person becomes a client, okay, if I hold an open house for a house that's been on the market for 4 weeks and they haven't lowered the price yet, what conversation am I having? I'm talking to these buyers as a secondary market. I talk to them about the secondary market, which is anything over 17 to 21 days is primed for a price reduction, or maybe your clients get in at list price or below versus overpaying. Okay. Properly set the expectations and follow up. If you set the expectations that you're going to call on Monday and Fridays and you don't call on Monday and Fridays, that's going to be a problem for your sellers. When you set the appointment, pre-qualify them. What's their motivation? Where do they want to go? How fast do they want to get there? What kind of questions can you ask? I never ask, how do you hear about me? The important thing is they did hear about me. If it's a referral, then I want to know. And the way I introduce referrals, or somebody calls and says, hey, my friend is selling and wants to sell, and I've told them about you. Great. Introduce me in a 3-way text. If your friend gives them your name, they will never pick up the phone and call. Okay. Where are you moving? Are there people moving out of Oregon right now? Especially Portland. Where are you moving? What's motivating you to move there? Maybe it's a job transfer. How soon do you have to be there? All of these are questions that you should have in your listing packet. Not necessarily your pre-list packet, because they don't go through it, right? If we sell your home in the next 30 days, will that pose a problem for you? 9 of my first 17 clients were because sellers didn't protect their clients. Do you have housing backup? Do we need to find a house for you? Seller to find suitable housing. We can protect them to let every buyer know that if they're going to put an offer in on the house, they're going to have to work with us and our guidelines before they can buy the house. Seller to find suitable housing can be put in the listing presentation, and every buyer knows that they have to work with them. The other part of this, they can get rent backs. So they can have a contract, it can close, and there can be a rent back where it's 1/30th, of the daily PITI. And that can go up to 59 days after the contract expires. Okay, so if you're working with buyers, excuse me, if you're working with buyers, know that if you see seller to find suitable housing, you can explain what that means. Sellers are looking for a house and haven't found it yet. Questions you can ask the listing agent when you're going to write an offer are going to be, build that relationship, right? Do they need a rent back? Have they identified a house? Is it a competing situation? All of these things, right? How soon do you have to be where you want to be? What would happen if your home did not sell? Why does a home not sell? Anybody?
Overpriced.
Number one reason, it's overpriced. Condition and location. Those are your three main reasons. The number one is list price. People perceive it as overpriced, therefore, due to the location. We can change the condition, we can change the price, we can't change the location. So it's important to remember that in your listing presentation. If it backs to a busy street, okay, or maybe it's on a busy street. Okay, appraisers, how do they view a home on a busy street?
Compared to another home on a busy street.
Or compared to a home that's not on a busy street?
Right.
Most of the time, depending on how busy the street is, they reduce it 5%. That's why I meet every appraisers to find out from the listing side of things, meet every appraiser. Why? Because you can have these conversations. How do they view the house on a busy street? If it's not so busy street, then maybe you're looking at a 2%, 2.5%. It's important to know these things. Okay, these are great questions to have. These are your motivational questions. Why do you need to know how much they owe on the property? Do you have any idea what you want to list your home for? This is as we're qualifying for their motivation. This should be in your listing presentation, these questions. Will all the decision, when I'm setting the appointment, I do ask, will all the decision makers be there when we meet? You want to make sure they're all there.
Yeah.
Just so you know and set the expectation, our meeting will take between 30 and 45 minutes, okay? I look forward to meeting with you and Alan, right? The pre-listing packet. How many people here are curious to do a pre-listing packet? Okay, Eileen, yes.
Yeah.
Website first.
Okay.
And absolutely, I agree with the whole website, having a website, because people are going to look you up online.
Yeah.
And if it's not set up, then you're going to lose business. It's a different time. It's a different era, as Corin said earlier. We have to change the way we do business. Technology, meetings aren't happening in person. They're happening on Zoom. We're doing walkthroughs on Zoom. Right? We're doing buyer's tours on Zoom. Okay? The pre-list packet plays two critical roles. It's pre-selling. And essentially, I would tell you it's to build confidence in you. Confidence in you is going to come from you setting the expectation, not just agreeing with everything they said. We never know if it's a realtor price or a seller price. Sometimes they can't even determine. Sometimes they don't even, they just come in and say, yes, yes, yes. What are some objections you're going to hear? if we have all of our ducks in a row in our pre-listing packet and our listing presentation, we're going to hear less objections because you're showing them the value, your value. Get a copy, take a closer look at a pre-listing, a guide to selling your home. This is very good, right? A guide to selling your home. It's all about you. My real estate business is built around one guiding principle. It's all about you. I will help you by taking the time to understand your wants and needs and expectations, answering your questions and returning your phone calls, emails the same day, and being honest with you at all times. Helping you obtain the highest possible price for your house in the shortest amount of time. Advising you on pricing and staging once I evaluated your home thoroughly against the market. Implementing a comprehensive marketing plan to expose your house for buyers through as many channels as possible. Coordinating the home showing process with you and your family's needs in mind. Nothing more awkward than walking into a home and the seller's still there. Changes everything, right? So when it changes everything, it's uh-oh. Agent didn't set the expectation. Now you might run into some that where they can't get out of the house, health reasons or whatnot, right? We have to all be sympathetic to that also. You just have that conversation as a buyer's agent with your clients. You do not want them to be surprised. Present all offers and advising you on the terms contingencies contained within. Excuse me. Negotiating on your behalf for the best offer. Scheduling and coordinating completion of contingencies, inspections, and monitoring the buyer's loan process. It is up to you to be in touch with the buyer's loan officer through the process. If you don't call until the final week before close to find out how the loan process is going, and I don't know, he's had a lien against him from the get-go, and they've never communicated it, you're going to look really bad because they won't qualify. And you have to put the house on the market a week before closing when it should have been on the market 3 weeks ago. Okay? Schedule and coordinating completion of coordinating and supervising the preparation of all real estate closing documents and guiding you through the closing process. That's when it gets tough. That's where the relationship with your escrow officer comes in. During the entire listing from start to finish, O is representing your best interest. That's what it comes down to. Getting ready to list. 5 factors affect the property or the value of the property. Recent sales, comparable homes that have sold are now, appraisers use sold homes. They don't use actives and pendings. Actives and pendings we use are what? Actives and pendings that we use are for the competition. Do we need to come in at a lower price? Is it not selling? Has it been on how long has it been on the market? Every house on the market has a history. It's your job to know the history and tell the story. Time on the market is not your friend. Location. Location is one of the most important factors because that's the only thing we can't change. We can change the condition. The condition of the property affects the price and the speed of the sale. If we haven't painted, if we still have sponge painting on the wall, do you think we need to paint? Probably. Prospective buyers often make purchases based on emotion. See how that works? So on a buyer's side, we want them to get emotional in order to purchase the property. On the seller side, we want to take the emotion out of it so they understand what the buyers are looking for. I've always found that fascinating. But that's psychology for you. I'll advise you in optimizing the physical appearance of your home to maximize the buyer's perspective. Start meeting with staging companies. Staging companies are great. They're expensive. I put that cost on my clients, on my sellers, just because it can be a couple $1,000s. Competition. Prospective buyers are going to compare your property, both the condition and the price, to the other active listings in and around your neighborhood in order to get buyers' attention away from the competition and focused on your home. We will be competitive by properly pricing and staging your home. How many people dread having three things? Just a second here. Just a second here. Okay, I had to let Mona back in. Okay, timing. Property values are affected by the current real estate market. Because we can't manipulate the market, we collaborate on a pricing and marketing strategy that will take advantage of the first 30 days your property is listed. That's the window of opportunity when buyers and their agents discover your property are most likely to visit and make offers. That number has shortened with technology and with 1.1 months of inventory and with record low interest rates. All of those are determined, and we actually went back to figure out in scripts this week what TMOs and what they were telling us this last week from March to February, or so from February to last week. Beaverton has jumped $32,000 in average median income or price. Don't be afraid to look at old TMOs. Find a way, ask your market center to send you old TMOs so you can see what the market's done. I can now go tell buyers and sellers, hey, the market's gone up 10% since March. Is that a benefit? Is that a great conversation? Absolutely. Okay. This is great. I love this little graph right here. It's my favorite thing. A well-priced home creates interest, attracts buyers, generates showings, and produces offers all very quickly. Okay. Price, location, condition, all of those things. An underpriced home will attract buyers and may sell more quickly. You may detract buyers who wonder what's wrong with it, as well as be overlooked by buyers. So there's a little bit of a gamble, but in this market with 1.1 months of inventory, and everybody knows what that means, correct? If you don't, unmute and ask. 1.1 months of inventory means that if nothing were to hit the market right now, again, it would take 1.1 months of it, a little over a month to sell every property that's listed. A normal market is 6 months where it doesn't benefit the buyer or the seller. So 1 month of inventory is a huge benefit to the seller, right? And overpriced homes will be evidenced by the lack of interest. You will have fewer showings, no offers, longer time on the market, and possibly price cuts. And you will open yourself to me bringing buyers in on the secondary market and you not getting full price. 3 things are going to happen when we put your house on the market, right? Can anybody tell me what those 3 things are? Three things are going to happen. We're either going to have no showings, no looks. We're going to have lots of showings, no offers. Actually, lots of looks, or no looks and no showings, no offers. No looks, or lots of looks, no offers. Or we're going to have lots of looks and offers. Which one's most appealing? Obviously the third one, right? Lots of looks with offers. List price will determine that. That's why I brought technology into and buyer's perception into my listing presentation. That's why I look at Zestimates. That's why I look at Redfins. That's why I look at Realtor.coms. That's what every buyer has at their fingertips. We can't ignore that. Okay. 15% above, people are going to know. They have all of this information, right? You got 10% of buyers looking at the property. I like to say you're working with, if you overprice it, you're working with 4%, because 96% of people have a smartphone. 10%, 30%, priced at market value, you have 60%, 10% below market value, 75%. You go 15% below, you're looking at a 90% increase of people looking at, buyers looking at the property. Buyers know a good deal. They're in tune to the market. Okay. Condition. This is important because you do not get a second chance to make a first impression. A second chance to make a first impression is what? Fierce conversations that you have to have with your seller. If you have the fierce conversations before they go live, you can also save them money. Because once they hit the market and it gets into an inspection contingency, guess what? All the work has to be done by a licensed and bonded contractor. And that can cost bucks. Okay. If you have the fierce conversation at the listing presentation and tell them what's wrong with their house and what needs work, then maybe we should have the floors refinished. Maybe we should pull up the carpet. That can save them money because they can do it themselves.
Hey, Matt, quick question for you.
Yeah, Jamar, what's up?
So give me the right perspective on this. I was doing an open house with an agent that the owner believed that it was priced right because of what his friend sold their house for. But in actuality, it was kind of above what the market value was. And ultimately, the agent that I was co-hosting the house with, they ended up going a different route because didn't get any activity on the house and found another agent and a brokerage to sell the home. How do you salvage something like that if the owner is steadfast on trying to get similar dollars of what their friends or neighbors got for their house? And you've kind of mentioned that maybe the house is overpriced and we should come down after you already listed the house. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. That's the tough conversation that you have to have before. You have to know what's active, know what's pending, know what's sold. You got to know the conditions. So when you pull your comparables, pull your actives, your pendings, and your solds, but pull comparables. Pick one that's really nicely done. Pick one that hasn't been updated, and then pick one that's not, so he can kind of see where he needs to be. You get to lead him to the price you want. You get to dial in your information, right? As the listing agent, you get to dial in. You get to see, you get to lead them to the path where you want. You know what the sweet spot is. List price will determine the activity. The activity will determine the sale price.
Got it. Okay, thanks.
Does that answer your question?
That does, because just the way you put it just now, obviously list price reflects activity. Obviously, if we're getting activity, people.
So if we present our sellers with the option of three things are going to happen when we put our house on the market. Those three things are going to be, we're going to have lots of looks, no offers. We're going to have lots of looks, multiple offers, or we're going to have no looks and no offers. List price will determine those.
Got it. Okay.
Which one is appealing to you? And that's where this graph becomes appealing. Right now, in 1.1 months of inventory, we walk into our sellers, into our presentation, and say with 1.1 months of inventory, it's a high seller's market. But we know with the invention of technology that you have 3 weeks to sell your house at list price or above. And list price will determine the activity that we get on your house that will then determine the sale price.
So you set the expectation with the possibility of the price being lowered if it doesn't get any activity or being sold within 3 weeks.
So what is going to determine what strategy they want to lose? Obviously, for you as a listing agent, you want the price where they're going to sell it for the highest price the market's going to bear in the quickest amount of time. So you're going to look at listing 10 to 15 below to attract more buyers. It says right here, 75 to 90% of people will see it. You're going to quadruple your activity in the market if it's below buyer's perception. List price will determine the activity.
So is it almost strategy to create a bid war for the property versus not?
Oh, that's one of my favorite questions. Obviously, from your perspective in your business, you want to sell it for the highest price the market will bear in the quickest amount of time. Okay. What determines that is the list price. Now let's talk about mindsets. And just as human beings' mindsets, how many people here have been to an auction? Raise your hands. Anybody been to an auction? Okay, so what happens in an auction? Hey, I've got 8 days, 7 nights in Cabo. Who's going to give me $1,000? Who's going to start out with $1,000? Anybody?
I'll take that.
Nobody's going to give me $1,000. Nobody is going to start at $1,000.
I don't know, Cabo. 8 days and 7 nights.
Yeah, you would think $1,000. Okay, who's going to give me $3,000?
No, that's a little pricey.
That's a little pricey, right? So the perception is overpriced. Who's gonna give me $1,000? Jamar's gonna give me $1,000.
I should have waited to see if I can get it lower. I should have did that.
Exactly right. You just hit it. So who's gonna give me $1,000? Nope, nobody's gonna give me $1,000. Who's gonna give me $500? Nobody's gonna give me 500. Who's gonna give me 100? It's 8 days, 7 nights in Combo. Smoke and deal at $100. And then what happens? $100, $200, $300, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, sold $1,800.
Yeah.
And what do you always walk out of an auction saying?
I feel like you got hustled afterwards if it ran up on you.
No, you walk out and say, look what I won.
Oh, sure.
Look what I won. Not look what I spent. Look what I won. So it changes our mindset. And then we're happy with it. Because we were competing against somebody else. Okay. As much as I talk about the secondary market, and when I talk about that secondary market of having my clients and clients are grateful that I know about the secondary market because I'm able to get them at list price or below, and most of the time it's below, then I can have that conversation. They still question of whether or not they got a good deal or not.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense? Because they were the only one at the table and they didn't compete. It changes their perception when they compete. What are ways? Okay. So we can't change the condition. And buyers like ready-made houses. Staging makes the difference. Places sell. If somebody has an option for, and this all comes down to their budget. If they're going to stage, then what do? Would you rather leave it empty or have it staged? Homes that are staged sell for 85% more than homes that are not.
85% or 20%?
No, it's 85%. It's the number is ridiculous.
Wow.
Staging always helps versus a vacant home, but it all comes down. If somebody's selling in the $350,000 range or the $300,000 range, they're probably not going to have that monthly fee of staging because it can be spendy. So establish in your contacts having stagers and what that looks like. Okay, how do you stand out from the crowd? When you're walking the house through the eyes of a buyer, this is the list you go down. You start at the curb of the house, you notice any maintenance, landscaping issues, chips on the front door, paint, poor outside lighting, dirty windows, overgrown bushes, hedges. All of these affect market value day one. When you're inside the home, you observe, is it tidy? Is it clean? Is it odor free? Does the layout and furnish allow it to flow easy? Throughout the house, make a note of any areas that needs painting or repair. Check flooring for wear and cleanliness. Will the buyers be able to see themselves in this property, or will they be too reminded of your family? Make note of family photos and personal items that can be packed away. And then here's some other questions, a guide to selling your home, right? Questions for you. Questions for your sellers. What is the most important thing you're looking for in your listing agent? I want to create a 10+ experience. That doesn't mean we're not going to have hiccups along the way, but what it does mean is you're going to have me at your side through everything. Have you had any real estate transaction experiences? How would you like to be communicated? Email, phone, text? How frequently would you like an update on the marketing? Weekly, twice a month? I would say he had a perfect Mondays and Fridays. You can explain what's happening going into the market, into the weekend, or coming out of the weekend. How frequently would you like an update on showings? Please list what you're most concerned about in the marketing and selling process. Buyer's qualification, showing procedures, open house, possession, pricing, negotiation, and other issues, right? All of these things. Put these in your presentation. What are objections you might have in your listing? What's the number one objection you're going to have in your listing presentation? Anybody?
Your commission?
Yep, 100%. What's your commission? Alan, what's your commission? Actually, Alan, what's your professional fee?
My professional fee is 3%.
Okay. They can offer whatever they want on the buyer side. Correct?
Yeah.
Sorry, realized. Thank you, Eileen, for the heads up. Some would say that's an improvement. Apparently the lighting's been bad. My bad. Okay. So when we talk about Nasim says 6%. 6%, remember it gets broken up into two different ways. The listings all provide the buyer's agents to bring their buyers into the house, right? So it's actually broken up how many ways? 2 ways. If you have a desk fee, if you have a brokerage fee, if you haven't capped yet, then it gets split at least 3 ways that you know of. And we don't know the condition. We don't know what the buyer's agent does, right? So my professional fee is 3% for listings. And then I offer 2.5% for the buyers. There's still saving 0.5% from everybody else. And it determines, right? If you walked into your listing presentation, when you walk into your listing presentation and somebody wants you to clean out the house and stage it and do all of that, can you have different prices, different listing, different professional fees? Absolutely. If you're taking care of everything and they're out of state and they don't have anything to worry about, 7%. You take 4, they take 3. You take 4.5. They take 2.5. Right? It all depends on what you have to do. I will tell you that every person that's ever asked me to take a reduction in commission has been the biggest pain in the tuchus. On the 6%, Nasim, what I used to be 3.3% and 2.7 to the buyer. Could be and as over time with the commissions, they've gone down. The buyer's agent commission is typically 2.5%. Occasionally you'll see a 3. But you're the one marketing it. You're the one putting the money behind it. You're the one, it's going to cost you something to list a house. Right? In your Ignite, Nasim also said, is there a listing packet template that we have that we can use and customize? I believe there's one on KW Connect. There's also, these are great ones that you can put together and create to be your own. This packet for Ignite, mine resembles this. Okay. And then also a customizable page that will allow you to provide personal information focused on what you offer and specifically how this will benefit the seller. I would tell you, when you provide your value, commissions won't even come up. And it's really weird when you walk out of a listing presentation and they don't talk about commission. They don't talk about your professional fee. You're like, did I just not cover that or did they just not care? And don't call and ask them about it. Just fill out the paperwork with your commission, right? Let them bring it up. Okay. Let me check my okay. I just want to make sure everybody's here. About you page. Insert your expertise in geographical areas, technology, communication, clients for life. %80 of people said they would use their realtor in their next transaction. Only 7% could name their last realtor. This is about building relationships. Cultivating your leads, building the relationships. These are great about me pages, right? What's your value proposition? Insert geographical areas of expertise, insert the ways you give your clients an edge through technology. Is bringing up technology going to set you apart from the competition? You guys want to hear a funny? My biggest fail forward in this business was going against our CEO in a listing presentation. Not Chris, but Craig.
That's funny. How did that turn out?
It led me to where I am today.
Okay.
I did not get the listing because I screwed up on one aspect.
What was that?
I brought in the technology. I went over everything. He got in first, didn't get them to sign. So I got an opportunity. They were interviewing 3 agents. And theoretically, they wanted to sell their house at 575 and their estimate was at 540. That's how I know that one so well. It's my biggest fail forward. Their Zillow was at 3 bedroom, 3 bath. I walked the house. It was 5 bedroom, 2.5 bath. And they had it already listed on Zillow, trying to selling it on their own at 575. Didn't know who I was going against, but I showed up and I talked to them about technology. As Craig told me, actually, once I saw who got the listing. So they asked me one thing, right? And we're all solo agents here. And one of the questions that she asked me was, how many people are on your team? We all have a team. Our teams is us, our escrow officer, our lenders, our photographers, our construction workers, our general contracting. These are all people on our team. She was referring to how many people are on a team, on a real estate team, whereas he's got a fairly big team. For me, it was me and my wife. And then she said, how long would it take you to put this house on the market? I said, I think I can get it on by Friday. It was Wednesday. Her motivation was to buy the house around the corner to stay close to her grandkids on a 1 level. And knowing that, had I not hesitated on her question of how long would it take me, now when I was there, don't let the distractions affect you. There was a sick grandkid, there was stuff everywhere, and it was nowhere near ready. So I hesitated and said 48 hours. My answer should have been 24. And if I said 24, in the words of Craig, because I had a conversation, I was able to walk by his office on Monday, see that he got the listing and tell him congratulations. And he looked at me and he said, were you Wednesday at 2? And I said, I was. And he told me to sit down. And I said, okay. So we sat down and I went over my listing presentation. His first question to me was, how are your TMOs? And I said, they were spot on. 112 people listed in the last 6 months. 57 had sold for a pending ratio of 44.9%. 19 had expired. I still remember it to this day. 19 had expired. The average starting price was 574. It didn't sell till it got to 554. I told them they should list at 550. He told them they should list at 560 because I was still new to KW. I didn't have year over year. And what you could also see if you go back a year is that neighborhood had dropped 2,000, had gone from 558 or 556 or 558 to 554 in the last year. So it was on a downward trend. Now I told her 550. Why? If you've been listening to my listing presentation, you should know why I told her 550. It's to maximize the exposure, double the exposure to sell it in the quickest price for the highest price the market will bear. Right? Maximize the exposure day one, increase competition. I don't care if I get a low offer at 530 and another one at 575. I've done my job. The buyers aren't going to know. Right? All they know is another offer's coming in. But to be able to have a conversation with him afterwards and explain my listing presentation, and you know what he told me? He said, "You're going to teach this class." And I said, "No, I'm not. I'm not going to teach this class. I don't like public speaking. I now teach this class because I think we have to create better agents from the gates. And this is why I do what I do. This is why I love what I do. If I can give you guys any strategies to work with buyers, sellers, and get busier quicker, I'm going to do it. This is my passion, to get you guys going to where you want to go faster. Every house has a story, and your job's to tell that story. Every agent looks at the history page. How long has it been on the market? Are there any price reductions? When you pull your actives, your pendings and solds to go into your listing presentations, pull houses that have been on the market that are priced high and show them what happens. Most buyers, okay, or most sellers, they know the list price. They don't know what it sold for. So if you walk into an area that may be $1 million area, but then you look at what they sell for, maybe they sell for $850 and $950, but they were listed at $1 million. So in all of the sellers' minds, they live in $1 million, area, even though they sold for $850 to $950. Tell the story in your listing presentations. Okay. We already listened to Josh Bath and his listing presentation, right? On a listing appointment, we greet. Hey, it's 3 o'clock. I've been here. We've got an appointment at 3 o'clock. It's a pleasure to meet you. Love what you've done to the house. Point out something great. It's not the time at the greet. It's not the time to point out the negative. Okay. Every listing presentation after you have your fierce conversations ends with what? A question to them. What do you love about your home? And what got you to buy it when you bought it? So that takes out all the fierce conversations and and it shows them how much you care. You're here to do your job, which is to price it right, to get it sold in the quickest amount of time for the highest price the market's going to bear. Okay. But once again, that's our goal. It may not be their goal. Their motivation may be, hey, you know what? This is the hottest market we've ever seen. I want to put my house at the highest price we can possibly sell it for and see if I can get that price. Do you take that listing? Sure. But have those conversations. Be prepared to have those fierce conversations. Okay. Scripps, thank you for inviting me here to apply for the job of getting your home sold. Whatever you feel comfortable doing, set it. Look up listing presentations online. Google it on YouTube. Find a strategy that you feel comfortable with. Right? Nassim,
Yes,
how's the market?
market's awesome. Depends on what you're looking at. You're looking at the buying side or the selling side.
Nice. Good. We set ourselves apart. We're the market experts. Greet, walk through the home, make notes. Take the listing input form and start filling it out as you walk through so you can save yourself time at the end. Okay. Keep a home tour checklist. Find some online and make them your own. Everybody's heard about R&D, right? No, it does not stand for research and development. It's rip off and duplicate. Don't reinvent the wheel. It's all been done before. It's just making it yours and what's going to set it apart, set you apart. Okay. Here's a checklist. In your Ignite book, you should have a checklist. You can use this also. What is the heat? These are great. Okay. Great first impressions. My mentor once told me, well, one of my mentors once told me, you can always dress down for the appointment, but you can never dress up for the appointment.
Is that a metaphor?
Yep. You can always dress down. If you show up and you're suited and you've got a suit on and a tie, are you setting yourself up as the professional? You can.
Yes.
Some people do it, some people don't. But if it's casual, you can take off your tie and put it in your coat. Right?
Correct.
But if you show up in shorts and a t-shirt, how do you look?
Too relaxed.
Am I going to have much confidence in you to sell my house?
Now, if it's in Portland, now when it gets cloudy all over again, the shorts and the t-shirt, they might be like, hey, I understand completely.
Well, that's
And
true.
then there's Eugene.
Yeah.
I was going to say, same with Eugene, right? And I always ask them so here's the other thing is, so dress up to you can always dress down, but be prepared. And in Portland, I don't pull a, a lot of times I'll have a tie, but I won't wear it. So it just depends. And it depends on the relationships. When I first started, absolutely always suited up. You get one chance for a first impression. Okay. I never give a price recommendation. My price recommendation is a high and a low. My job is to get you the highest price the market's going to bear in the quickest amount of time. List price is going to determine that. Do you have any idea what you want to list your house for? Then I use my technology. And why do I use the technology? I actually use the technology first to show sellers what every buyer can see. Google your address. See what those evaluations tell you. Whether they're right or wrong, it doesn't matter. We're talking about buyer's perception. And then set your expectations for how you will market the home and work with the sellers. If you don't set the expectations, guess what you're going to get at the end of the listing conversation?
Probably not a listing.
No, you'll get a, will you reduce your commission question? Right?
So, quick question. You said you only give a high and a low price. What if they ask you, what would you sell it? What would you list the home at? For as you being a professional. After you've given a high or low and it's somewhere in between, they would say, hey, Matt, I hear you. I see you.
I have a sweet spot.
Okay.
Okay. So I think we should list the house at 550 to maximize our exposure. I want to expose your house to the most amount of people day one. If I have somebody who wants to go, let's say 385, you're pretty much locking yourself in, right? Everybody's going to see it's going to be from 375 to 400. Maybe they go 380. Maybe I say, well, we might want to think about 375. Show them the 10% and the 15% lower as exposing it to more people on the market, right? 75 and 90% of people will look at it if it's 10 to 15% lower. But then if you add it to the 575, or sorry, the 375, you're doubling the exposure from the first weekend. Once I say list price determines the activity, they don't get married to it. The price is going to be, that's what's going to elevate the activity. The more activity we get, the higher the price is going to sell for. Whether it's open houses and we have 30, 60, 100 people come through, whatever it is, list price will determine it. Okay, if I go at 550, at 350 or 375, and it's 10% lower, am I going to increase the activity? Buyers will perceive a better deal and get off their couch. List price is going to determine of whether or not they have one. And you don't want every listing. You don't. You may want to, just to put your sign in the yard, but it's not going to increase your reputation if you've got a property that is being able to really be able to set it there and set it at that price. That doesn't make you look as good. That's not going to help your listing side of things. I walked away from one because she had a renovator telling her that he would give her $715,000 for her house. I told her house was worth $575. That would be the sweet spot to market it. She found an agent, believe it or not, after I walked away from it. She found an agent that listed it at $725. It's still on the market. Guess what she's priced at?
What's that?
She's now dropped it to $599.
Yeah.
That's still coming down.
Okay. So essentially the biggest thing that we want to do is create that trust. And if they don't, you know how to sell your house, right? You know how to sell a house. Talk with people, mentor, get in the office, talk with people. How does it look? Okay.
Matt?
Anybody have any? Yeah. Corin.
This is Corin. I have it's not a single family residence question, so I mean, feel free to tell me that this is maybe better offline, but
no.
I'm trying to list a duplex both sides are rented. I can't get inside. Obviously, I just have to take the word of the owners. They haven't really been inside in a while. I also can't find any comps because it's in a smaller town that hasn't had duplexes listed in over a year. How would you go about trying to find a quote unquote list price for that?
Go back a year, see what it did. Okay, see what duplexes did. Find any comp that you can and go back, but then also check out what technology is doing. What kind of condition it is in. Know your basics. Talk with an investor. If you've got an investor friend or know somebody who is good with investment properties, an agent at the office, talk to him or her about investing. And what does that look like? So when I first started learning about duplexes, I learned that it was between $210 and $220 a door here in Portland, depending on the conditions. Now that price has gone up in the last couple of years. But then when I started looking at duplexes, I started looking at it. What is the rent? Okay, so you're looking at rent. What's the cap rate? How much does each side rent for? There's a whole lot of determining factors, right? So you've got.
Yeah, that's the other thing is that they've been month to month. They've had the same tenants forever. So their rental rate is way below market rent. So even if I do a cap rate analysis, it's going to be way lower than what they could just kick them out or raise the rent as soon as they become owner.
So then it becomes, so the fact that they're month to month. And the other part of that is what kind of laws do they have to follow? How long can they, is it a 90-day kick out or eviction? Find out. There's certain restrictions that you can and can't do.
Yeah, they're hoping to just flip it and find a new buyer that's going to be able to just basically become the landlord of existing people. But yeah, we have to follow those rules and guidelines as far as when to notify them.
Okay. And then determining the value, determining the value is going to be the return on, the return on investment. How much, what's the footprint look like? It's 1 a 2-bedroom, 1 bath. Is it a 3-bedroom, 2 bath? Talk to a rental property to see what market value on rents are. Because that's kind of going to determine what they can afford, right?
Correct.
Because you don't want to buy a property where the mortgage payment's going to outdo the rents. Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course. An investment you want to actually make money on.
Okay.
Thank you.
Does that help?
Yeah, it gives me some direction to go on for sure.
So if there's no comps, there's other ways to do it with duplexes. Return on investment. What's the footprint? What's the mortgage payments going to look like? And then talk to a lending guy to say, if somebody comes in now, the nice thing about duplexes is most likely they're going to come in with 20 to 25% down. Right?
Yes, yeah, they can't get 100% financing on investment, correct?
Exactly. So the only way I think they can get it lower is if they live in one side. Okay.
Yep.
So that can help determine a price. Run the numbers. Okay. So guide to selling your home. Goals to discuss for today. When you go into your listing presentation, is discuss the motivation for selling. Define your 10+ experience and your expectations. Review what you can expect from Keller Williams and you. Remember, we are the number 1 brokerage in the world. Don't forget to expose that, right? We have agents all over. Explain the selling process from listing to closing. So that's why it's important to find an escrow company. If you're just starting and you're waiting, find an escrow company. Review the 3 factors that get your home sold. What are the 3 factors that get the home sold? Anybody? Location, condition, price. And then we get to decide if you're going to work with me and I get to work, and whether or not I'm going to work with you. So it's kind of like my listing presentation came from this. I just didn't realize it as I was putting it all through. Right? Anybody? So that's what I have for now. Does anybody, we're just going to open it up for questions for the last 10, 15 minutes.
I don't have a question, but I will say the activity with texting everybody. I started texting people in my phone. I've been getting text messages and calls ever since then. Just as far as and then I'm piggybacking off of it to let them know I'm in real estate, and they're like, I might be looking at a house next year. So I'm like, oh, if it's this easy. So anyway, just FYI. I was actually I felt like I was prospecting during class, so I apologize.
No. But you know what? How easy is that?
I like text messages. I usually call, and I hate calling, but I can text all day long. I mean, it's the fear of hearing expression and things of that nature. So
the biggest thing is we can't interpret our words. Voices, we can actually interpret.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes it's good to reach out and say, hey, you got a quick 5 minutes for a phone call. You know, after you text them. What are they going to say? No, as they're texting you back and forth?
Correct. Yeah.
Anybody else? So anybody else have any other responses from that experiment? How many people want to text 5 more people? Nobody wants to, right?
Sure. I said sure.
What's that?
I said sure.
All right. Text 5 more people. 5 more people. And that'll be your 10 contacts for tomorrow, right?
There you go.
One of the things that helped me do is clean out my phone book, because I realized I have a lot of names and numbers of people I haven't talked to or associate with anymore. So,
and you know the best part is, reach out to them.
Yeah.
But they live in Texas, so I got a lot of phone numbers from Oklahoma, Texas in my contacts book.
And you know what?
Okay, I got a question about that since you brought it up.
You have just like real quick, Eileen.
Yeah.
Jamar, just because they are in a different state, you can help them.
Okay.
So that's what I haven't got. That hadn't racked up in my brain, or how can I help them? If they present me with the question of how can you help me, outside of referring them to another agent, I don't know how much more help I could be.
Really? You can call and interview their agents to find out if they're going to be a good fit.
Yeah.
Since you know the buying and selling process, you can screen them and tell them and give them 3 names.
Okay. But I need to make contact with somebody I haven't talked to in years. And then if they decide they're buying a house, I don't feel like I would know them well enough to interview an agent for them. Does that make sense? I guess it's a confidence thing.
Well, and it's building the relationship. Remember? What are the 4 C's?
Oh, you're gonna put me on the spot. I don't remember.
This is honest.
Capture, right? Connect, close, and cultivate. And I guess it depends on how well you knew them, if they were just an acquaintance or whatnot. But if I don't know them that well, I'll send them a text, the same thing that says what?
What's up?
Just how you doing, Karen? How are
Care.
you doing?
Exactly.
Haven't talked to you in a long time.
Exactly. What's been going on?
Yep.
You got married. It's been way too long,
Yeah.
True.
Go through your phone, use it as it, and if they say, hey, then what are you out? Nothing. Okay. Jamar, your opinion on texting rather than calling is common. He's right. Most people would rather text than call. How many people, I love it when I call another real estate agent, they don't answer their phone, but then I text them afterwards, and guess what I get?
Text message back.
A
A
response.
text message back. It's the most frustrating thing, but it happens all the time.
Yeah.
If you're not in their contact list, they'll most likely ignore a call, but they will read a text,
Right.
which gives you a chance to reintroduce yourself.
Mhm.
How many people have texted somebody and it's been the wrong number?
Yeah, of course.
Absolutely. It happens. And that's the big thing, is being able to, is being confident. Work on your listing presentations. Your Ignite book is a great resource and a great opportunity to rip off and duplicate. Motivation, price, whether or not you want to work with me and I want to work with you. Okay? Any other questions? Don't Don't forget, Eileen, yes. And don't forget to go into the chat box and start filling out the feedback form. I'd appreciate any feedback. If it's harsh, I know there's a couple times I got distracted. A little bit of history here. I found out yesterday that a friend of a friend, got COVID.
Oh no, bummer.
So I'm stuck.
Right.
Stuck until I can get tested.
Oh no.
But so it was a little distracting because everybody's here. We have 3 businesses being run out of the house.
Oh boy.
Anyway, so no excuses though. Be harsh. I love criticism. I want to be able to learn and get better. Okay. So I'm going to stay on here. Eileen, you had a question.
Oh, it was kind of like what Jamar was saying. So, I have a lot of professional contacts up here from my from my work life. And I have a lot of personal contacts and professional contacts in San Diego. So I'm wondering how much time I should spend on local people versus working with people out of town and getting to know agents down there, because there's a lot of opportunities for that in the people that I do know down there.
I think it depends on your relationship. Every single one, every single person, just like a house, every house has a story. Every person in your phone has a story.
Okay. I mean, it's kind of a theoretical question, but
yeah. Well, and to know that you can help somebody who maybe wants to move to Florida. I called 3 agents and said, hey, I think these 3 would be a great fit. You get to pick.
Yeah, a lot of people are moving out of San Diego, so.
Exactly.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Anybody else? Please feel free. I'm going to leave this up for a little bit. If you have any other questions, what's everybody's biggest aha out of this? Mona, what was your biggest aha?
My biggest aha is how he did approach and plan the week, that how you can start by Monday and Friday and set the expectation for him. Price expectation, this is very important because most of the sellers, they want to list at high price. They miss that if we put a high price that we will lose a lot of buyer, but it's always better to list below the market price so you can attract more buyers.
That's true. List price determines the activity determines the sale price. If somebody says they want to sell their house for 600,000, I'm like, why limit yourself? But it may not mean, it may mean we don't list at 600.
Yesterday, I was visiting a friend, and by accident, her mom dropped by us, and she was telling us that she is working in two her houses, one in Beaverton and one in Sunny River. And she wants to sell the one in Beaverton, and she was telling that I will tell the agent I'm working with, I will sell it between 500 and 600, and if he didn't listen to me, I will not work with him. So her daughter was telling her, he's a jerk, don't work with him, find somebody else. So I told her, I will be so happy to help you. But when you want to set a price, you don't say that I will sell it from between 5 to 6. We full comparison, and we study the market, and we check what is the market. Accordingly, I will tell you that you can work from this to this, and we can decide how to work it out. To be honest, I was so surprised that some agents till now, they are taking the price without pulling CMA or market analysis.
Okay.
So I gave her my business card. I tell her, okay, I will be so happy, but I didn't be pushy and salesy, because she already said I am working with an agent. But what I understand from her daughter, that agent he's not that professional. And I said, okay, I will be so happy to help you in doing the CMA and market analysis for you. This is my business card. If you like me to do it for you, please let me know. I can't be more pushy. What do you think?
I'm not a pushy guy, so my biggest thing is sit back and listen, especially if they have another agent.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, every time I'm at an open house, every time that I'm at a listing presentation, I never realized that people are always listening. You may be talking one-on-one with somebody, and next thing you know, you turn around and your business cards are, dwindled down, or everybody's taking a card. A week later, they call you back. Hey, loved your presentation at this open house. I've been in screaming matches at open houses because a guy was telling me I didn't know what I was doing.
Oh, wow. Yikes.
Then I told him we had an offer on the house already, so his value was way off base. And 3 days later, based on the information that I was talking about, maximizing the exposure and doubling the amount of people that see it, he basically at that point, 4 days later, he called me and said, "Are you ready to go to work?"
Wow, that's nice.
And I said, "Yeah, we were screaming at each other in this open house."
Sounds like guys.
But it's knowing, it's understanding human nature. It's understanding psychology. We wear a lot of different hats.
Yeah.
You want to know the most fun one I had? This was recently too. 48 hours, we'd established a list price of $525. 48 hours before we went live on the listing, husband called me and said he wanted to jack the price up $25,000. I said, well, we kind of already agreed to 525, but if you feel that's necessary, then we can try it. I said, but it's going to cost you in the long run. Sure enough, we went at 550. Got an offer in the first 12 days because it's the hottest market we have. We got an offer at 540. It was a couple that had been beaten out on a lot of properties. They came and looked at it together with their mother-in-law the next day and canceled the transaction immediately. Then we didn't get another look, another showing for the next 3 weeks. So I had the conversation with my sellers, husband and wife. Since the husband jacked up the price, I was giving him market updates, and then I finally had the fierce conversation. And that fierce conversation went like this: I think you should have a conversation with your husband and ask him why he doesn't want to move. She said, no, he wants to move. And I says, every time I've seen somebody jack up the price before we go live, it's because they don't want to move and they don't want to have that conversation with you. So obviously she was the one making the decision, right? And he didn't want to have that conversation. So
Yeah.
Me having that conversation, she approached the conversation with him, and 2 hours later, I got a price reduction to $525. 2
Always
days.
wife win.
Oh, wife wins always.
This is a trick. I always use it with my buyers. If they want to influence them, I will focus on the woman. She will make it happen.
Right, guys.
We dropped 525, and guess what?
You got a lot of traffic, more traffic than sold.
Got multiple offers. Now, granted, they were at 525, and then I had the pleasure of telling him he probably cost himself 10 to 15,000. Because if we started at 525 in the first of the market, he probably got close to 540.
Yikes.
And it's a whole lot easier to go to an appraiser with multiple offers and say that it was fought for and won versus having one where it's been on the market for 3 months, a month, right? So has everybody filled out the feedback form? It's in the chat box. If you have, type a 1 in the chat box, please. Perfect. So we are marriage counselors. We wear a lot of hats. We're psychologists. We're economists. We are, you name it, we wear the hat. And they're all fun. So if you scroll up, the chat's there. It says forums.
I scroll up, there is nothing.
Just a second, I'm gonna re-put it up for everybody. There it is. Anybody else have any ahas? Oh, scripts. I'm going to put the number of my scripts practice, 8:20 and 4 o'clock.
And 4 o'clock, it is the same like 8:20?
It usually turns into something different. It depends on the people that are there.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Because, you know, I'm not a very early morning, but I want to do it.
It helps.
Yes, it helps a lot. Give you also energy, positive energy in the morning.
It inspires you to do your lead generation.
Exactly.
And the 526 number is the scripts room.
So what will be the scripts for tomorrow?
Seller objections and market objections.
Okay, great.
We're going to wait till the summertime. We're going to wait till after COVID. Moving objections, motivation objections. We're not ready. We're taking a break. We decided not to sell. Seller objections. We need an agent with more experience. How many people are afraid of that one?
Sure.
We're going to cover that one tomorrow on scripts at 8:20. That number, 526-049-8196.
Is it really 049? 56049?
That's in the Zoom room. So if you go to Zoom and hit join,
Okay. Got it. Sorry about that. I'm like, that doesn't sound
Yeah.
like a phone number to me. Never
So
seen that before.
Zoom room
Okay.
526-049-8196.
It's the same Zoom, same number as this class. Okay.
And we do role play. Yes, that's
I
for
mean,
both
I
8:20
first time.
and that's for 8:20 and at 4 p.m.
Right.
It is the same that Jet send it for us every morning, right?
Yep.
Thank you, Matt. Really, it was great. You're always so helpful.
Here's another one we're going to cover tomorrow too. Another agent will charge less.
Yeah.
Of course they will.
Okay.
But if they're not willing to fight for their own food on the table, how are they going to fight for yours when we come up to other negotiation strategies during the repair and inspection period and the appraisal?
Right.
How will they fight for your money if they're not willing to fight for their own? Is that somebody you want negotiating with you?
No.
Is that reverse psychology?
Yeah, pretty much. But it's true.
It is true, but you know,
I know, and I will tell you this from the buyer standpoint. I look at everything, right? I look at the whole thing from a buyer standpoint. If I see that an agent took less and is offering a 2% commission, I already know I have a leg up in negotiations.
That's true. You gave in.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
I had somebody.
He didn't sell his value.
Literally, we she took less money on it, and when we were done with the inspections, there was a lot of work that needed to be done with the house. And when it came time to inspections, we asked for everything. New electrical. We asked for $28,900, and they did all of it.
Whose home was that? Jeez, let's
Exactly.
go there. Let's go there.
they were trying to sell. Or
Can you
buy or sell.
imagine?
Crazy.
And that's the other thing when I'm representing buyers, when I represent buyers, I always have communications first with the listing agent that says, "Hey, I'm going to ask for everything, and it's up to your seller to decide what they want to do." Okay. If I'm on the seller side, I'm telling them, look, they're probably going to ask for everything because that's what you'd want me to do if I was representing you on the buying side. Set the expectations. As we set the expectations, then we have those conversations, right? Setting the expectations. Hey, they're probably going to ask for everything, but we get to determine, we're the sellers, we get to determine what we're going to do or not going to do.
I have a question, Matt.
Yeah.
Okay, so say you're writing a listing agreement for a client and they don't want to do any more than like 2% or 2.25% or whatever to the buyer's agent. Do you feel that less buyers, agents are going to bring them? You know, say your client says, "Oh, I only want to offer 1% or something like that." How does that affect your listing?
So the thing that I point out, and I go to human nature, right? Human nature is we're going to go where we get paid more. If you have 3 or 4 houses that have the same criteria and they're offering 2.5% and you're at the bottom at 2%, where are you going to fall on the totem pole as to where people show?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be last. Do you want to be
Right.
first or do you want to be last?
So do you think that's one of the main reasons why, like FSBOs, for instance, you know, who offer nothing, don't get offers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they're not on the market. I mean, they're on a limited representation, but no, I mean, are you bringing a buyer? You may tell them you're bringing a buyer, but you're not bringing a buyer. You're just telling them you're bringing a buyer to get into to get an appointment. Thanks, Molly. So having that discussion, it's buyer, you know, it's the psyche. How much do you get paid? Do you want to work for free? Now, I also do know that there's a lot of people selling or that are suing for a lot of states that are suing for the market, for the buyer's agent market, where sellers are not happy that they have to pay. But this has probably been going on for about 30 years. So it is coming up in lawsuits. So in Washington, actually, they have a stipulation where the buyer doesn't, or the seller, the listing agent doesn't have to provide a buyer's agent commission.
Wow.
But once again, where does that come up? When does that come up? And where does that come up in the conversation? And where do you show the property? We have a company up here called Rex Homes. They're not a part of the RMLS. So they can't get into your listing. They're not a part of the RMLS. They sell for reduced prices. But if they have buyers, they can't show your home. They don't have RMLS.
Yeah, I've heard commercials for them.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So it's just a question. And feel free, this is once you're done filling out, if you've got to go, great. I'm just having open forum conversations and whatnot. This is.
So if you have buyers that had a FSBO and then they decide to list with you, what would you say to, so they've had these particular buyers I'm talking about. So or the sellers I'm talking about, they've been on the market now for like 3 weeks. They've already done a price reduction. And now she's reaching out to me saying they're thinking about hiring a listing agent now. And obviously they're going to need to provide compensation to the buyer's agent too. I mean, would you strongly recommend, say, hey, you need to bite the bullet and offer 2.5% in order to get this thing going?
Yeah, I mean,
Buyer's agent.
give them the officer, give them the opportunity. Okay, so you've brought buyers to their house. Is that what I'm to gather?
No, it's a family member who they currently have their house listed as a FSBO, and they've gotten no offers after 3 weeks. And they paid to have the money, they paid to have somebody put it on the MLS for them. And they've done just a little bit of their own marketing. They took their own pictures, which actually are pretty nice, surprisingly. But there's no agent commission offered on either side, and they've had a lot of showings, but no offers after 3 weeks.
Huh? People don't want to work for free?
I know, weird.
So there's a FSBO, and there's a FSBO stat that is FSBOs often sell for 27% less.
Yikes.
Wow.
So you'll net 27% less than you would if you put it on the market. Have that conversation with them.
Okay.
Okay, look, you need to put it on the market. There's no reason your house hasn't sold. We're at 1.1 months of inventory. We're at record low interest rates for buyers. 6 months is a normal market.
How do you spell FSBOs? I got to look this up. Haven't heard of it.
It's just for sale by owner.
Yeah, it's for sale by owner. FSBO.
Got it.
So have those conversations to decide why they should list with you. You throw these numbers and their stats at them, they're going to fall all over themselves, right?
Right.
How long do I think the interest rates are going to be low? I think tomorrow decides a lot. Is that saying a lot? Is that saying too much? But I think tomorrow will decide a lot. I think.
Yeah, seriously.
But I also think that people are so used to low interest rates that if they go up to 5s, we may look at what? A recession. We may look at the buyers going away. But 5 is still a great rate. 4 is a great rate. But now they're getting 2s.
I know, seriously.
And Facebook, I saw some.
Everybody, I gotta go. See ya.
Thank you. Saw some lead gen apps. Do you think those apps work? Only if you learn how they work, which as you're trying to learn a business is impossible to learn something else.
Yeah.
I would tell you to hold off, stick to the basics. Okay. Amanda, did that answer all your questions on it? I would approach them. I would approach them and say, you know what? The election's coming up. We don't know what it's going to do after that. There's no telling what's going to happen in our market centers, in our markets. But if your motivation is to get, ask them what their motivation is. Where do they want to go? You probably already know, right? Is the reason you don't want to list with an agent because of the commissions?
Yeah, they're trying to maximize their profit by not using an agent. And so right now they're second guessing themselves because it's been 3 weeks now and they've had no offers in this market. And their house is actually quite beautiful.
Don't you be honored to list their house? Okay. And on average, realtors sell homes for 27% more than FSBOs. So if netting the most amount of money is important to you, go with an agent who is invested in you. Go with an agent who cares about you, who's going to work hard for you, right? That's what we do. And tell them right now, if it's your only listing, they're going to have your undivided attention. Right?
Yeah. So, well, in your opinion, they're actually up in the Portland area. It's my sister-in-law. And they're up in the Portland area and I'm, just obviously getting started. And I know they're in a big hurry to sell. So part of me is, thinking about referring to an agent that we've used before with Keller Williams, actually.
I was going to say,
But
where
I
are you
don't-
at? Which?
What was that?
I said, where are you at? Which?
Oh, Eugene.
Eugene. Okay. So you've got
Yes.
somebody up here that you partner with.
Mhm.
So referring it out would be definitely a possibility. Come up for the weekend, talk to them, or have a phone conversation, talk to them over Zoom, have that conversation and tell them, a lot of agents, and pick one that's going to be the best fit for them.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
There's
probably
a
that
lot-
instead of trying to list it myself, right?
I know agents that'll drive anywhere. My first listing was in Gates, Oregon. Anybody know where that is? It's the nicest house in Gates, and it was a referral from an agent who didn't want to drive there, so I drove there. And it was phenomenal. I mean, we sold it. It was a beautiful house. It was attention to detail. But it's on the way to Detroit Lake. And the fires, I don't know if it's still standing or not. It's just past Mill City. There's like 10 houses and a restaurant and a taco and a Mexican restaurant and a convenience store in the town. And that's it. So sometimes doing that, I mean, if you got a place to stay, I mean, nothing beats the experience of going through it and having somebody who can keep you in the loop. Okay. But if you guys have somebody up here, then absolutely, I mean, 25, 30% of is better than nothing. And right now they're trying to sell their home, right? They're probably
Right.
getting calls left and right. Why not hook them up with somebody who's going to care about them?
Yeah, I just know with me, it would take a little bit longer because I'm not even in the RMLS yet. I'm working on that right now.
Okay.
I just got, together with or signed up for the association and now I'm.
What
doing the
area are they in?
What was that?
What area are they in?
They're in Milwaukee.
Perfect. It's top five place to go. I worked in Clackamas for 10 years.
That's where we just moved from, actually, is Happy Valley.
Oh, okay. I was off 116th and 116th Court.
Oh, nice.
The Safeway, yeah.
Yep.
So, but Milwaukee is an up and coming area because it's 15 minutes to Portland and it's 10 minutes to the freeway. And then it's perfect location.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Clackamas County. So, okay. If they're having trouble, I'd have the conversation because for you, and ask them, is it about netting the most money?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing beats the exposure of putting your house on the market.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes. And have a great day. If anybody doesn't have any other questions, let me know. But I enjoy this immensely. Hopefully that comes through.
Mm-hmm. It does. Thank you.
Yep. Have a great day.
It does. You're awesome, Matt.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.